All right, hello. Welcome. This is my second devlog on this game that I'm developing. As you can see now, there is actually something on the screen. Whoa! Um, so this little blue square right here represents the player, and this red capsule represents an enemy, and the circles are their collision areas. These are custom collision areas. They're not the same as the Unity ones, because I want to make the game as deterministic as possible to be replay friendly, because I want to implement replays somewhere down the line, or just save the inputs and then have the gameplay and it run the same. And I heard that Unity's colliders were sometimes, and like on trigger enter and whatever, were sometimes less consistent than is entirely desirable. So I made my own, basically just using trigonometry. This is just a variation on the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, another thing I have added since the last update is a mechanism for controlling the camera in the game. And this implements a new interface I have called Iterator, which is basically another attempt to make the game more deterministic by having the game manager control all of the update functions for all of the objects that need to be consistent. So at the moment, this camera controller can be controlled by me by using WASD, E, and Q. However, in the actual game, the camera will be controlled by the game. It'll auto scroll. And that in action looks like this. We can move the camera in all directions. We can turn the camera and move in all directions still. This will be useful to have more interesting looking levels. So you could have go this way and then it'll turn a bit. And, I wanted to do this because I played a game that did this and it looked really cool. And plus I could reuse this script for other things, like if I wanted it to be player controlled and like you also move the player, you know. It's just a nice system. And so I'll probably have some kind of component to control the camera per level. So like it'll have maybe an array of like instructions, like set speed to something and then set rotation per frame to something. All right, the next thing is all right, the next thing I have done is, so for this game I would like anyway, I guess I don't need. So for some preface, I had been, for enemy behaviors and the bullets that they shoot, I'd been hard coding all of the enemy bullet shooting behaviors and the, when they shoot what, when they move, etc. And by hard coding, I mean having like a time, it be timer based, like every tenth of a second it would increment a clock, and then have a, in the update function it'd be like if clock equals 10, if I wanted it to go at the first second, then do a thing. If clock is greater than 10 and less than 50, and clock remainder 2 is equal to 0, because I don't want it, because if I wanted it to like shoot a stream but not every frame, then do a thing. As you can see, that gets pretty crazy and not super intuitive to look at or to program. So my idea was to kind of make a miniature scripting language for me to be able to write the enemy behavior in an intuitive way, at least intuitive to me. And then the program can convert that into a list of commands that it knows how to follow. So nothing's been happening so far, and nothing will happen in the game. Like no bullets will shoot, the enemy won't move. But because I just have it doing debug.logs, this ignore thing here and end ignore just designates that the compiler, I put that in air quotes because it's not real. I mean, it's not a real compiler, but that will just not load those lines. So now it will. Obviously, this represents a comment. So we have the main thing that this runs off is the weight, and that's very important to me because it's very easy for me to see. Oh yeah, wait, 5 seconds before doing a thing. That's easy for me to understand. Not start timer, update. If timer is equal to 5 seconds, then do a thing. No, I don't like that. So then that's another thing, and then the repeat is another important thing. So I don't have to write things over and over again. So repeat 3 times and repeat. And then I have it so when it reaches the end, it'll just reset to the beginning. So let's look at that in action real quick. Take a look at the console down here. So we're waiting 5 seconds, shooting, waiting 0.5 seconds, and then we're repeating. And then we're waiting 10 seconds. Yep. So we're repeating, wait, shoot, wait, shoot, wait, shoot, and then we're going back to the beginning. And this is the array of actions or instructions that the compiler generates. So that's what it looks like to the game. So here's the code. Yep. So right now the actual compilation and the execution of the script is all in this one file, but in the future I'm going to have another class to execute them and put those on each kind of object that is going to shoot bullets. It implements iTickable, so it runs from the update method in Game Manager. This line here is just if it's an empty list, then don't do anything because otherwise, it'll cause an error. Action Iterator is our iterator. It'll tell you which line of code you're on, which line of the script, which action it's doing. So it'll do the action plus that. And this is if wait timer equals 0. And if wait timer is not equal to 0, you count down. So in do action, we have the 0 action. So the way I'm going to set this up is since everything is a number, I'm going to go, for instance, so let's say down here should be like shoot 5, speed 10 or something, and that would translate into 1, 5, I don't know, like 6, 10. So the program would read, okay, every other number should be an integer, and those numbers are going to be the specific commands, and the other ones are the values of what they are. And if that's might not be a great way to do it, but it sounds good to me, at least at this point. If I'm totally wrong, tell me before I get any further, please. With repeat, I use a stack to handle repeats. I have like a struct that just stores 2 numbers, which is the number of repeats left to go and the line to jump back to when it's done. So when it reaches an end repeat, then it'll pop the thing from the stack, decrement the number. If it still has repeats to go, then we set action iterator to the line number that it goes to. Tell me in the editor that it's repeating because I have no way of knowing otherwise. And then it pushes it back to the stack. Now the interpreter slash compiler, this sets up pattern data, checks to see if the file exists. Yeah, I need a file too. Well, this is the file, it's in assets. In the actual game, I think I'll be loading them from resources. Got stream reader. So we run through while not end of stream. We do a try catch statement. If we catch this, this method just logs something to the, just does a log, and it says the line number in pattern.txt. So this just runs through basically, and it ignores things that start with this. It ignores things that start with white space. It removes white space. So that is the same as that, and it converts these to their integer command IDs. It makes it into a nice, neat, and tidy list for the game to see. Now that I think of it, this might be a very good idea to use an enum instead of this nonsense. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Anyway, so that's that. Thanks for watching. Love to see your feedback in the comments if you think I could be programming something better. If just have some advice or just your general thoughts. I'll see you next time.